All right, next we will begin reading strategies tutorial.
Reading strategies. In this lesson, you will interact with texts to deepen your understanding.
So we have our contents, so you can come back.
Introduction. Have you ever been so absorbed by something you're reading that you lose all track of time? If so, then you know what it means to interact with a text. When you interact with a text, you gain a better understanding of it. But what about those times when you read a piece of fiction or nonfiction and you don't understand what you're reading? When that happens, reading can be frustrating because you don't fully comprehend what the text is trying to convey. In this lesson, you'll learn to use reading strategies to help you focus on and interact with a text so you can better understand what you're reading. Warm-up. Use the notebook tool to list or describe reading strategies that you already use. Think about what it means to interact with a text. How do these strategies help you interact with a text? Write your response in 50 to 75 words.
So when I am asked to write something, I almost always copy down the prompt. So highlight, Control C, copies, come over here to the notes and Control V for paste. That gives me a head start. You may also open up a new tab, go to your Google Waffle icons list here, go to Google Docs, and create a new document. I know I'm doing this awfully fast because this is just notes, but it may come in handy later. Whoa, what's going on over here? Reading strategies. Close enough. I might even give it a date. And then paste again. See that Control V? Now the reason why I would do this is because I can edit this and it saves, and I believe I can do a word count here. So far the prompt is 42 words. Display word count while typing. Okay, I don't want to do that because it might confuse me. 92 plus 50 to 75, right? All right, so then I break down what it asks me to do. I can do that either by copying it again or going like this. Use the notebook tool to list or describe reading strategies that you already use. I already use the reading strategy of, I don't think that's spelled right, but oh, yep, strategy. Unknown word, strategy, there we go. Of using a bookmark to stay on the right line. That's what I use. Okay, reading strategies. I also reread as needed. I don't understand something. And I look up unknown words. Hey Siri, what does the word strategy mean?
Strategy means a plan of action or policy designed to achieve a major or overall aim.
Okay, so Like I said, I use my tools to look up unknown words. There's also a dictionary. So next, think about what it means to interact with the text. Okay, interact. Work with, be with, use, manipulate. All right, how do these strategies help you interact with the text? Well, using a bookmark, and again, I'm a little bit lazy, so I already said it helps me stay on. So I'm copying my own stuff here. Control copy, whoops, edit, undo, copy. How do these strategies help you interact with the text? Using a bookmark to stay on the right line helps me from losing my place. Okay, and then looking up a word. Looking up unfamiliar words helps me to understand the content. All right. So now I can get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, put them together, fix a typo, and then let's do a word check again. Word count, 52. It was asking for 50 or 50, 70. Look at that. I copy that, bam. I paste it in right here, bam. I already used the reading strategy of using a bookmark to stay on the right line. I also reread as needed, and I look up unknown words. Using a bookmark to stay on the right line helps me from losing my place. Looking up familiar words helps me to understand content. Uh-oh, reread as needed. Okay. Rereading as needed helps me make sure that I read that correctly. What? Did I read that right? Did they say what I think I said? And by the way, I just added a couple more words. Bam. All right. Next.
Warm up.
Oh, we already did that.
Comprehending texts. To make meaning of a text, you need to understand it. Comprehension strategies can help you interact with and better comprehend a text by reading it closely. Benefits of using comprehension strategies. Using comprehension strategies to interact with a text has many benefits. They keep you focused and encourage you to make inferences about what you're reading instead of zoning out. They help you process information and your own ideas to support a deeper understanding of the text. They slow down your reading so you can make adjustments when your understanding breaks down. They allow you to keep track of ideas from the text so you can refer to them later. Next, let's look at comprehension strategies you can use. Comprehension strategies. Click each thumbnail image to learn more about comprehension strategies you can use to interact with the text.
So preview content. Preview content. Quickly look over the text to preview the content. This will help you become familiar with the topic and layout of the text before reading it. Examine text features like pictures, headings, and tables. Adjust the reading rate. Read at different speeds. For example, you want to quickly skim the text for keywords, but when learning new information, read and reread slowly to make sure you catch all the important ideas and details in a passage. For example, I want you to go through the tutorial at first, get most of the information, and then reread it or rewatch this video to get the content, the information down on your guided notes. Chunk text. Chunk text by breaking it into small sections. Focus on one section at a time. Chunking the text helps you understand and remember what you read. So you would read one chunk, make sure you understand it, and process it before moving on. Paraphrase. Paraphrase information, restate the text in your own words. This will help you focus on the author's ideas and purpose for writing. So, tell me what it means. Don't repeat the same thing word for word, and don't tell me what happened in the story, but restate in your own words what the author said. Make predictions. A prediction is a guess about what the text will be about based on the title or subtitles or pictures, or it is a guess about what will happen next in the passage. You can base predictions on the details provided, your prior experience, and your knowledge of the topic. Annotate the text. To annotate the text means to mark the text and take notes as you read. To annotate a text by underlining important details, circling unknown words, and highlighting key ideas. So, writing questions and comments next to these marks will help you deepen your understanding of the text. So you might write why. Annotate text because it helps deepen your understanding of the text. Like that, you see. Create graphic organizers. Construct meaning with graphic organizers. They will help you visualize how the information in the text fits together. Outlines, thought maps, and flowcharts are examples of graphic organizers. I love the hamburger graphic organizer, for example. And I have a fun story about a kid who said, "Are you guys using a graphic organizer?" And the kid responded to the principal, "No, we're using a Venn diagram." Joke's on us. That is the name of a very famous graphic organizer. Illustrate ideas. Illustrations are helpful for understanding complicated and important ideas in a text. It also gives your hands something to do. If you are doodling on the side of your paper, that can help you cement the ideas in your brain. Illustrate key ideas by drawing pictures of what you imagine in your mind as you read. You don't have to be a good artist, you just have to get the idea down. Label a picture if it meant to represent a complex idea with many parts or steps. So we'll do that next. All right, there we go.
Read the passage. Then, use basic shapes and lines to draw a picture of how and where an electric car can be charged.
All right.
Electric vehicle benefits. Plug-in electric vehicles, also known as electric cars or EVs, are connected, fun, and practical. They can reduce emissions and even save you money. Just like a smartphone, you can plug in your EV when you get home and have it ready to use the next morning. Because the electric grid is available almost anywhere, there are a variety of options for charging, at home, at work, or on the road. By charging often, you may never need to go to a gas station again. EVs can help the United States have a greater diversity of fuel choices available for transportation. Our reliance on petroleum makes us vulnerable to price spikes and supply disruptions.
So then it says, read the passage, use the basic shapes to draw a picture of how and where an electric car can be charged. So I am not an artist, however, I can draw a nice little house and a plug to plug in my electric vehicle. Let's change that to green. Undo. Try again. There we go. And then with the little prongs there to plug into the outlet. So electric vehicle, EV. Oops. Yeah, close enough. All right, submit. There we go. All right. So they showed that you can plug it into a house or into a work or maybe somewhere on the road you can use it. I'm not an artist. Who knows? Annotating text.
Annotating texts. The previous section described annotating a text as a comprehension strategy. Here are some marks you might make when annotating a text: underlining, circling, highlighting. Marking the text and taking notes can help you remain focused and will lead to a deeper understanding of what you're reading.
Okay.
Readers create their own personal annotating style. Your annotations are a record of your thoughts, so your annotations will look different from a friend's or classmate's annotations. When possible, some readers like to write directly on the text. When you can't write directly on the text, consider using sticky notes or a notebook. When you begin annotating, keep it simple. As you become more comfortable with annotation, you can add more elaborate color coding and symbols.
One thing you don't
How
want to
to
do is
annotate a
highlight
text.
too much.
The passage includes 4 marks you could use to annotate a text. Click each mark in the passage to learn more.
Place a star next to the important information. Ooh. Home. I'm trying to put it next to important information. After placing a star, make a note by paraphrasing the text. Add a question mark. I have said to do this multiple times on your guided notes. If you don't understand, put a question mark. That allows you to remember to ask me in the comments of your guided notes or this assignment. Highlight. Highlight or underline keywords or phrases. After highlighting, underline a word or phrase, add a note. Be sure not to highlight the entire paper though.
It's important to understand that making marks on a text is only one part of annotating. To truly interact with a text, you'll also need to add annotations in the form of notes. What you make notes about can vary, depending on whether you're reading fiction or nonfiction. To help understand important elements to look for in each type of text, familiarize yourself with literary devices and techniques, as well as elements of nonfiction. Next, we'll take a look at different types of notes you could make when annotating a passage. Annotation notes. Click each thumbnail image to learn more about the types of notes to include in annotations.
Definitions. Use reference materials such as online or print dictionary to look up the definition or pronunciation of an unfamiliar word. Write the definition next to the word for reference. So, if I was to look up the word annotations, I would copy it, go to a dictionary, paste the word, and click look up. Now I have it there, and we can see how it's
Annotation.
pronounced.
Annotation.
Now I can take that information and put it in my notes. Now I want to make sure that the word annotations is on top, not the word noun, because that won't help me when I'm looking for the word. Oops. All right, so annotations is a noun. Here's what it means. My little thing here is blocking it, but you get the idea. Questions. Write questions before, during, after you read. Ask questions before you read. What's going to happen? Who's going to do the murder? And then during, say, oh, that must be a clue. Or, oh, that foreshadowing? Was that the murder weapon? Was he being suspicious? Was she looking underneath the trunk to find the weapon? And then after you read, go, wow, I wonder why he did that. Or I wonder why she opened the door when she knew the killer was out there. Ask questions. Inferences and evidence. As you read, write down any inferences you make about the key ideas from the text. What do they mean by inferences? If I don't know, I'm going to go back to the dictionary and look it up. The act of processing or inferring something inferred. Okay, great. Okay, so you basically can understand or read between the lines about an idea. Also, note what information each inference is based on. I think that this is going to happen because they showed this. It is based on your background knowledge. Oh, is it based on your background knowledge? Is it based on implied, not directly stated details? Or is it based on explicitly, clearly stated evidence? They showed a candle that was lit next to a curtain and the wind was blowing. What can we believe is going to happen? Based on the evidence, there's a candle and a window and a curtain. Opinions. State your opinions, your personal beliefs about the topic of the text or the author's writing style. Doing so will help you keep track of how you feel about the text and its various elements, such as characters, events, and ideas. It's okay not to like something and still be able to read it and understand it. Patterns and repetitions. Patterns and repetitions. Note patterns and repeated information that you see in the text. When you see words, phrases, images, ideas, and so on repeated, note the effect and the author's purpose. There's a reason for it. Connections. Take notes about the connections you make to the passage. Text to self connections are those that are between the text and personal experiences. I've been skateboarding before and I wrecked and I scratched my knee, so I can probably understand how this person felt when they were skateboarding and about to jump over a big, scary jump. Text to text connections between the text and other texts you've read. Oh, I remember reading about baseball, and I remember how that was similar to this story. Text to world connections between the text and what is happening in society. Oh, this is happening in politics right now. And I remember that in the text, it said something about voting. Oh, okay. That's real world. That's a connection. Reactions. As you read, note your reactions to the text. Oh, no way. I don't believe it. No, they did not. Oh, no, she didn't. Include the emotions you feel and the thoughts that come to your mind. Oh, if that was me, I would, you know, and then go from there. Write that stuff down because later you might be asked or you might be, thinking about it. What did I think when that happened? And summaries. Summarize sections or paragraphs of the text. Be sure to focus your summary on the most important ideas, details, and information from the passage. If you don't know, then maybe you need to go back and reread it and do some of these other reading strategies, annotation strategies.
Avoiding mistakes. Avoid these common mistakes in annotation. Do not write vague notes like, "I like this," or "This is confusing." Make your notes meaningful. Do not circle a word without looking it up. You need to know the definition to understand the text. Do not highlight or underline the text without writing a note. You may forget why you marked the text. Do not add symbols like an exclamation mark or emoticons like a smiley face without writing a note. Comment on why you included the symbol.
Very good ideas.
Practice annotating. Use the tools available to you, such as highlighters, to annotate the poem Sympathy. Be sure to look for the following: unknown words, confusing ideas, important details and information, key terms.
I've done this annotating as we've gone along, but just in case, I know what the caged bird feels, alas, when the sun is bright on the upland slopes, when the wind stirs soft through the springing grass, and the river flows like a stream of glass. When the first bird sings and the first bud opens, and the faint perfume from its chalice steals, I know what the caged bird feels. So I didn't circle those. Okay, so then I go back and upland, that's the hill side, and glass, I thought that was neat imagery. Imagery. Spelling doesn't matter in your annotation. Chalice. What's a chalice? So I'm going to look up a chalice. And now it might not have it in all dictionaries. Chalice, a goblet, especially a cup used in the sacrament of communion. And the faint perfume from the cup steals. Okay, so the cup of what? Oh, of the bud. Okay, so the bud is opening like a cup. All right, so the bud and the chalice. So the chalice is like a cup, and he can smell it. Smells the fragrance in there. Smell cup. All right, close enough. All right. So you might not have this opportunity to edit this stuff because we can't print out these tutorials, but I can get you things like these poems if need be.
Annotation notes and marks. Take a close look at the annotation marks and notes that could be made on the poem Sympathy. Click the yellow and green highlighted phrases, star, circled words, and question mark to see the note for each mark.
Text-to-text connection. This line from the poem is similar to Maya Angelou's novel, I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I wonder if this poem inspired the title of her book. The underlined phrase, sun is bright, wind stirs soft, springing grass and river flows are details that help me use background knowledge to infer that it's springtime. Based on these details, I can also infer that the poem isn't just about how the caged bird feels, it's about how the caged bird feels as spring approaches. Oh, it must be even worse, right? As to be caged up during the spring? A chalice is a large cup or drinking glass. In the poem, a chalice is used to describe how the flower bud looks like a cup as it opens. Repetition and inference. The first line is repeated at the end of the poem and has an exclamation point. So I think it's meant to emphasize that the bird feels trapped.
You've seen some comprehension strategies and ways to annotate a text. Now it's time to use those strategies to independently interact with a text. In the following activity, you'll choose to read either a fiction or nonfiction passage. When making your choice, consider these questions. Why am I interested in this topic? What is my purpose for reading this text? What questions do I have before I start to read?
All right, so I could print out the activity and I could do this activity in front of you and for you, but I'm going to move on. If you want to come back and do this reading strategies tutorial for yourself, which honestly, that's how you're going to learn the most, then I recommend that you do that. You go to your tutorial and you go through to slide 22 and feel free to complete this exercise on your own. Here's a sample answer I chose to read. Was Einstein a space alien? And then it gives you some information, etc. And then you can self-evaluate. You do have to hit submit on each of these before it allow you to move on. Here's our summary.
Summary. Click each circle to review key strategies for interacting with a text.
Comprehension strategies. These comprehension strategies can help you interact with a text to gain a better understanding of the passage. Preview the content, adjust the reading rate, chunk text, paraphrase information, make predictions, annotate the text, create graphic organizers, or illustrate the ideas. Annotation marks. Annotating involves marking the text and taking notes. Here are some text markings to use when annotating. Circle unknown words. Add a question mark when the text is unclear or confusing. Be sure to remember to write the question. Place a star next to important information. Highlight key words and phrases. And be sure to find unknown words that you've circled. Oops.
Summary.
Annotation notes.
Click each circle to review key strategies.
Each annotation mark needs to have a note. That's what I said before. Define unknown words, ask questions, make inferences supported by evidence, state opinions, note patterns and repetitions, form connections, write reactions, and summarize text. All right, now we can move on to congratulations, you've completed the tutorial reading strategies. Thank you, and remember, what you think on grows. Cheers to your greatness.